Hello amazing people, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. You Think with Chioma. I'm your girl Chioma Atiye, and today we're talking about something very interesting, and that's not even the most interesting part of it. The most interesting part is who I'll be having this conversation with. I'm going to be having this conversation with the just one and only.
My name is Joey Shekwonujimbo. Let me spell you of all the...
No, please say the second name again.
My name is Joey Shekwonujimbo.
Please help me pronounce it.
Shekwonujimbo.
Thank God I'm not getting married to you, so that will be my surname.
Don't worry.
I'm so excited to have you here, Joey. How you doing?
Pleasure. I'm okay. I'm fine.
So yeah, before we even jump into this conversation, right?
Okay.
Tell me what you do.
Okay, so Joey is a mediapreneur.
Mediapreneur.
I'm into the business of media.
Okay.
I'm a social media influencer, a blogger, a web developer, a digital marketer, a podcaster. Like,
and you guys here, it's endless. But let's just stop here. This alone defines a lot of things.
Of course.
Wow, that's why we're having this conversation today, because there's no better person that I would have loved to have this conversation with besides you. Now, Joey, let's jump into the conversation for today. Okay, aside from saying that you're a mediapreneur and all of that, you also mentioned that you're a social media influencer. Yeah. So what we are talking about today is influencing generally, influencer marketing and all of that. So really, what do you think influencing, or do I say brand influencing or just influencer marketing? Which one is like more like an umbrella word for all of it?
A brand influencer is someone that is just tied to a brand, right? Yeah, but for social media influencing is actually very broad. Okay. So how do I describe this? If you are a thought leader in your industry, consider yourself as an influencer. So it's as simple as that. Okay. So it's either you are very good with Twitter, good use of language, good use of text, good use of images, and even GIFs. You make a post and you get a lot of engagement. You consider yourself a social media influencer.
Interesting. So you have to be a thought leader, because you use the word thought leader. That means you have to be good at what you're doing. You have to be an expert to a certain level, right?
Of course.
So now let's talk about how influencing became a thing, because like prior to now, some years back, it wasn't so much like this. It was just celebrities doing these, and then all of a sudden there was this huge spark in the popularity of influencing and all of that. Why do you think there was this sudden increase and people were just surging into that space, influencing, and people started talking about it so much?
Okay, so I could say it's because of the advent of new media. That's the introduction of social media. Because the likes of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, name it, these are just like the advent of new media. And then for people that are trying to struggle with transiting from where they were to where we are at the moment, when I mean transiting is, so let me give you a very good example. The likes of Pete Edochie. We grew up watching him and all. And then he just joined Twitter. But I know he has a handler. I know he has someone that is handling. So imagine him as at then when Twitter came into Nigeria. Let's say 2009, that Twitter came into Nigeria. Imagine the likes of Pete Edochie having an account immediately when it came, and then they were very, very good with this social media as at then. Yes. You know, transiting from now. That's almost how many years now? Almost 12, 13 years, I guess. So imagine that transition between that time when they were very influential, very popular, like we celebrated them then. So imagine they were very active then. I think you would have been getting like 50 million followers, right? So I think it's because of the advent of social media or new media that is even making social media influencing very popular.
That makes a lot of sense. And because it's becoming a thing now, or it even is a thing now, do you think it can be someone's career? Because some people do that as their life job.
We have it's just so sad that in this part of the world, a lot of people feel just like your parents now, when they tell you that you're a YouTuber, when you tell them rather that you're a YouTuber, they'll be like, what does that mean?
What does that even mean? Just go and carry camera.
Well, it's a career. It's a career. We have big influencers outside that are making huge amount of money. A perfect example in Nigeria is we have Pamilari. We have the likes of our very own local here. We have Amama Ben Benedict. He used to have almost close to 300k followers on Twitter.
Are you kidding?
And he's in Jaws. You see the likes of Black Boy, the likes of Celestine Audu, the likes of Shola and the rest. These are guys that are cashing out using social media. Any of the social media platform they are using, regardless of location, regardless of where they are in, because social media is not state bound. So as long as you have access to
the internet, yes.
I mean, any other person can be a social media influencer. But then, social media, I think there should be a new curriculum that should be allotted to courses like digital. There's a course like digital marketing.
Yes.
So there's people have a lot of
courses online.
So if we have courses like that outside the shores of this country, we can even have that introduced in our curriculum to make because the truth is, we are churning out graduates every year, and at the end of the day, they just go study accounting and they just know accounting. But hey, they can find a way to integrate any of these soft skills into what we can achieve as regarding our educational system in Nigeria. Imagine you having something that has to do with digital marketing in your university. I mean, you will gladly want to pick that. Of course. And social media influencing is part of digital marketing.
Interesting. Okay, I saw somewhere that research shows that, or some sort of studies shows that brands that work with influencers get 5 times the actual amount that they are supposed to be earning or profiting from their businesses, especially when they get the right people to work with. Do you think that is true?
Of course. So a perfect example is, let me give you a perfect example. For those of you in Jaws and you're going to watch this, a perfect example is Cravings. When Cravings came into Jaws, it was a group of influencers that pushed Cravings.
Whoa, I used to see it on your status that you were pushing it.
So you see, it was a group of influencers that made people know that, hey guys, Cravings is in town. These are the flavors of ice cream they have. The weather is getting hot. So we have a lot of influencers that pushed it. And of course, Cravings was able to raise their revenue to some certain level. As it is, as I'm talking to you, we are in business because they are thinking of having a retainership with some of the influencers. So regardless of the amount of money they pay influencers, they get their return of investment. Is that not what they call it? ROI, right?
Yeah.
Fine. So I feel social media influencing really does help brands to help get or have this conversion.
Yes, it leads to conversion. Yes, that's very important. So, but do you think there's really a future in this? Like in the next 10 years, in the next maybe 2 decades, 3 decades, do you think influencer marketing will still be in existence? Because I know that technology is getting more advanced, and then there's the nanotechnology, there's robotics, AI, and all of that. Do you think in any way that's going to replace influencers or influencer marketing in the place of business?
Okay, so we cannot remove the place of technology. The future of technology is moving towards AI.
Yes.
Right now we have AI trying to make copies for brands. Instead of employing somebody that will be your copywriting for you, and a machine does that. So the truth is, in as much as we are a people, you can't also remove that place of humanity in every aspect of our lives.
That human touch.
Regardless of the kind of job you do, regardless of any PR you want to do, you still need human beings. But then we are not saying that technology is not really helping us. Instead, we are going to use this technology for social good. In essence, we are going to use this technology for impact, income, and influence.
That makes sense. That's coming from the influencer. So now let's go to another part of it that I think I want to know about because it has affected me somehow. Okay, I know I don't think I told you. I kind of influenced for a brand, a real estate brand, for a very short period of time, but I didn't really have an idea of what influencing was at the time. I just jumped into it. I was like, influencing. I've been hearing people talk about this. Why don't I just jump on it and do that? So when you talk about prices for that, I remember when I was getting that contract, they said that because I did not have so much followership, they weren't going to pay me up to a certain amount I should have been paid. You know that there's a micro influencers with 1 to 10K, there's the middle tier, there's the mega, there's the macro, and all of that, right? And you pay them depending on the number of subscribers or followers that you have, right? So is that really important? If someone is so competent, does the number of followers and subscribers, depending whether it's YouTube or Instagram and other social media platforms, is it really that important?
Okay, so I would say the answers are actually two, yes and no. Let me start with the no answer. So when I was thinking of gathering 20 influencers locally on the plateau, I remembered we had influencers that had just 500 followers. Yes, we had influencers in the pod that had just 500 followers. And these influencers are people that have followers from the streets, the Twitter streets. Like they had organic people following them. You understand? These are people that when they drop a picture or leave a quote or even drop their own thoughts, at the end of the day they get engagement, and with the way you see the engagement, you'll be like, how many followers does this person even have? A perfect example is, let's say you have somebody that has 200 followers or 300 followers, and the person made a tweet, and the tweet is actually going viral. So imagine that tweet, one tweet going to like, let's say 2 to 3 million retweets and likes, and at the end of the day, wouldn't you consider that person as a social media influencer? You should. Because it takes just one content to make that person's tweet to go viral.
Yeah.
So for people that have low followings, okay, so for the purpose of bidding, usually I now, so as we were growing in the group, we had a lot of people that actually grew from 500 to 5,000 followers, from 5,000. So in fact, we had a lot of influencers on that group that had, up to now they have more than 10,000 followers.
Wow.
So, and there are some jobs that we get based on our rate card. We say, okay, for our rate card, we have 20 influencers. Right now, I have influencers that have 500 followers to like 5,000 followers, and this is how much you will pay for this group of influencers.
Okay.
And again, for influencers that have 5,000 and above, they are going to be in a different groups. So you can't consider the pay you are paying the person from 500 to 5,000, from 5,000 to 10,000. So we have rate cards for all of this. But of course, followership really counts when you're thinking of the influencing business. Reasons being that when people are trying to contact you, they will look at your numbers. How many followers do you have? Send us your analytics. Your analytics is like the summary of everything you're doing every month. They'll get to know, okay, your reach this month was 5 million, for instance, and let's say you have 15,000 followers on Twitter, for instance. At the end of the day, somebody will be convinced to say, okay, let me pay you 150k, let me pay you 200k to make one post, because he knows how much he's going to get, the impact he's going to get over time. So the answer is yes and no. Followers really count, but to some extent they don't count.
Okay, and then there's this thing, I don't know, most influencers I've seen, right? They're like young people, average aged people. So I'm still wondering, like, these people are still growing, kind of. So are there certain qualities that these influencers should embody? Because people just feel like you just said now, people just make one post and then it goes viral, and then it impacts the person that employed them, right? Which means the person will pay them hugely. So people are just after the money, and they're like, as far as I'm going to just do this post and it's going to give me this particular amount, I don't really even need to know so much, as far as it's something I can do effortlessly. So what kind of qualities do you think people that are to be or already influencers should embody to help them even prosper more in that space?
So for social media influencers, for newbies, for people that are enthusiastic about social media and they want to venture into social media, there are some certain characteristics I like to talk about. Number one, you need to have content. Yes, and this content are in different ways. It's either you jack someone's content like Tunde Ednot used to do, or you create your own content. And on social media, we have a user-generated content. It's either Choma makes a video, or she's making a very funny TikTok video, I jack it, post it, credit her. At the end of the day, I mean, it's content I'm sharing because a lot of people will enjoy the kind of content I bring.
As far as
next thing,
me,
of course, the next thing I want to talk about is consistency. As a social media influencer, as a newbie, you're thinking of starting the social media business, all you need to do is to be very, very consistent. I mean, don't be that one person that posts once a year, or when they ban Twitter in 10 years, you go and think, this Twitter says I'm even on the platform. How do they use it? So you see, or you have Facebook. Recently, let me shock you. Recently, there's a project we're working on, and they needed about 20 influencers, and then you need to send links to all your social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And at the end of the day, when we're running checks, we noticed that a lot of people have shifted from Facebook to Twitter and then followed by Instagram. So a lot of people even had less than 1,000 friends, and the requirement is you need to have 5,000 friends on your profile before you can even embark on that job. So what will you say about that? So as a social media influencer, you're thinking of starting social media influencing, it's very important that you be very consistent. It's very important that you have content. It's also very important that you should try and carve a niche for yourself.
Niche.
Let's say I'm an enthusiastic person. Let's say I like cars. So I like to do anything like an unveiling of new cars. I want to go and inspect cars. So imagine me creating content for such, because I know a lot of people may be interested, because my content is going to be appealing to car enthusiasts. Let's say I'm an enthusiastic person and I'm interested in web design. I think I should be creating more tips on how to navigate. So you see, I'm carving niche for myself. So, and some influencers, they may want to be all-rounders, like anything goes, like anything.
Yes.
So as long as it goes viral, so as long as you get the traction, you're getting the views and all. So you need to be very, very conscious when you're thinking of creating user-generated content, being consistent.
So Joey, what you're trying to say now is it's not all right for an influencer to be like universal, because some people would be like, if it's real estate, they are there. If it's like brewery industries, they are there. If it's fashion industries, they are there because they have certain qualities that fit in.
Earlier I talked about brand influencing, right?
Yes.
So for you talked about how you were working in real estate, and at the end of the day you got terminated because of the numbers and what have you.
Yes.
So for you, that's you being a real estate brand influencer.
Okay.
So you are influencing for real estate. As for you, you can be jumping from one real estate to another, because you do real estate influencing.
Okay.
But to some, they may want to do everything. So let's say you want to trend a real estate company, or they are just coming into jobs for the first time. You need influencers. So these influencers that are scattered everywhere, you gather them and say, guys, we want this thing to trend #1 in Nigeria on Twitter NG. It's very simple. So people like that can trend stuff regardless of whatever niche or industry.
Okay, so you're trying to say it's possible for it to be intermingled, because I see Bishola or Bisola, sometimes she does for DSTV, she does for noodles, she does for this, she does for that, and I'm wondering, like, if it's going to be just this, let's say just with this, but it seems like she's more universal. She's more
she is, and there's nothing wrong in doing that, because sometimes if you limit yourself, you are saying, hey, this is Nigeria. I mean, you understand? It's about the money. It's about the money. It's about the coin. So you need to be everywhere and be vast and be creative.
So what are some steps someone needs to take if the person wants to be an influencer, like a social media influencer? Okay, so okay, you start first by having a social media.
Of course, it's very simple. There is no social media influencer without having a social media account. And if you portray those characteristics I pointed out earlier of you having a content, thinking about a niche, being consistent, being a thought leader in a certain industry and all. If you don't do all of that, I don't think you're ready to go anywhere. So be it politics, be it sports, be it music and all. A perfect example is Joey Icahn, the guy running the pop culture in Nigeria. His idea is just to talk about Afrobeats in his podcast, and he's a thought leader in that industry. So you see, people like that, he got verified recently. People like that are just, they are just tied to that niche of promoting pop Afrobeat from Nigeria to the rest of the world. So for you to want to start social media influencing, it's very important that you put everything I've said into perspective. And when you do that, I think we'll meet.
That's the boss say we're going to meet.
We're going to meet where we really meet.
We're going to meet though. Actually, okay, so I saw something somewhere that someone can, it's better to have 2 active accounts. They were like, okay, for instance, Instagram and Facebook. Okay, now they are owned by the same. It's linked. Yeah. But like Instagram and Twitter, or Instagram and maybe LinkedIn or some other place, and then they like at least have 2, so that when something happens to one, you have one to fall back to, right? Okay. But then is it just okay to just dwell on one? Like you just want to be an Instagram influencer, or you just want to be a Facebook influencer, or maybe Twitter influencer? Is it okay to just dwell on one, or you must have to just
juggle up? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they are different social networks.
Yeah.
So you need to understand how they work. And again, you need to also pay attention to where you're getting traction from. So let's say I'm a YouTuber. I think the best place for me to start creating content is YouTube first. After YouTube, I think Instagram, because on those platforms,
people get to know you from YouTube, and then they now begin to follow you. Even if you have a website, they now start to follow your website.
Because the social media platform is like a funnel. It links them to where they can be seeing your content. You make a video now, you cut a snippet, post it on Instagram, and post the link, or post on Twitter.
Then just you post it.
So you see, you need to understand how this social network works. So for social media influencing, for me, my own platform I use more is Twitter, because I understand how Twitter works, because of how versatile Twitter is. If I want to get breaking news, I go on Twitter first. If I want to see what is happening in Nigeria,
and
I go on Twitter first.
Twitter news is more legit than other.
Do you understand?
Like comes in first.
So I feel you need to understand all of these dynamics. They will help guide you to determine which social media network should I stay with, and which other social media network should I use to be subordinating like me now. Mine is
just
Twitter.
like your support system.
Yes, mine is Twitter, and I'm a podcaster, and I'm thinking of start shooting my podcast very soon. I think I should be using more of YouTube and Instagram, and then if I want people to follow what I'm doing, I'll share it on Facebook and also on Twitter. And again, people use Facebook to generate traffic.
Okay.
And it's just so painful that in this part of the world, we don't get paid when people stream our content on Facebook. We don't get paid.
Oh, really?
Unlike some other countries, the more you watch this content, video content on these platforms, they will ask you to send stars. You sending stars mean you are giving them a tip.
Nice to send stars. So Joey, you are also tech savvy. You are into media, you're tech savvy, and you're a social media person. So can an influencer, can someone be an influencer without being so tech savvy? Okay,
so that's what I said. I talked about content, right?
Yeah.
You can be a copywriter, a good storyteller, a good narrator.
Okay.
A very good voiceover artist and the rest. So the point is, you don't have to be tech savvy.
Okay.
Digital marketing actually is a bit techy, right? But then with time, you may be needing some prerequisite skills for you to function very well in this social media space. Now I'm talking to you as a newbie. You're thinking, okay, what skills should I gather if I want to venture into social media?
Yeah.
Social media really is not tech savvy. It's just a space, a place where you have user-generated content, where it's user-friendly. Post this, edit this, post and watch and see. And usually when you are starting off and you're not getting traction, you can now employ the use of digital marketing to push your content out. So being consistent always, just know how, or have a niche-based platform.
And talk about this niche, Joey. People do things that they're not so passionate about. Must you influence for brands that you're passionate about? Because you mentioned that you could be universal earlier, but some people would be like, if it's not fashion, they would be like, I'm so into fashion, and if it's not fashion,
hungry will kill you.
You heard it.
You need to be vast. Like for me, right, on my personal timeline, I don't promote politics, but I have pseudo accounts. I have burner accounts. Yes, I have burner accounts that I can use for such businesses, right?
Yeah.
So you shouldn't say because you're not passionate about this, you're not going to do this. In fact, that's why you need to have other burner accounts, so people will not know that you're the one running that account.
Joey, do you know what? We're going to have this conversation again because there's this part I want to talk about, but it's going to be so long. Like that part where people cheat you because they feel like you don't know some of these things. Like you're going into a contract and then maybe there's this exclusivity clause and all of that, but because you don't know all of these things, because probably that's your first time and all of that, people just cheat you. I don't want you to answer that question now because that's going to be another talk. It's going to be a talk for another day.
I'm ready to answer.
Okay, but for people whose parents are trying to tell them that you see the social media thing that you're doing, it's going to waste your time. And then they're looking for someone that's just going to ginger them or something that's just going to keep them doing it, even though their parents say they shouldn't do it, but they want to come back and shock their parents and say, that's what you said I should not do. So it's bringing money and this money I'm going to give you. So what would you say to them, people that want to go into influencing in any kind of way to do? Okay, so
thank God for the advent of technology. A lot of parents now are now getting very conscious to understand how social media can be used for social good. How social media can be used for impact, right?
Yeah.
I saw on social media that some group of parents dressed their kids for career day in different attires. I saw one, they dressed her as a tech bro. I'm like, okay. I saw another one.
How do tech bros look?
I don't know. So I saw another one that she wants to be the EFCC boss. I'm like, okay, go where those days where you get somebody dressed up as a doctor, lawyer. The truth is, even all these professional courses now, these days,
they're diversifying.
So as parents, you need to allow.
I know lawyers that are now influencers. I know even doctors. They are now storytellers.
Look at Aproko doctor. What is he
doing?
So you see, he's a thought leader in the medical field. He gives tips. Now he's even making TikTok videos and YouTube videos, educating people, enlightening people. Guess what? I'm very sure that the proceed is going to be making on social media is even more than what they are paying every month.
So making more money.
As per parents, I think it's high time they allow their kids to venture into this. And even as young persons, I think you need to find ways to convince them. And the only way you can convince them is when you're making money.
Hey, go bring the money, bring the money. All right, Joey, I think I've had a very amazing conversation with you today. You know what we do here? Youth Quick with Choma. We try to like teach you things, educate you with a splash of fun. It's not going to be all serious. It's not going to bore you. And I hope that from this conversation, if you've been thinking or if you're into it already and you're not so sure, you're thinking of trying the waters and all of that, I hope it's been able to convince you. It's been able to tell you the pros and the cons of these, and whether or not you still want to go into it. I know that this has been very helpful. So watch out for my next video, and if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Do you help me tell them to subscribe, to like, to comment, to share, do all those things now to help my YouTube channel grow, right? So thank you very much for listening.
My drink has finished alone.
I'm around the stick. Oh God.
Thank you very much for tuning in. See you on the other side.
Yeah, see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye.